welcome to Scorched Earth and a General, looking for the lesson reading for Virgo for the month of December. I hope you are well. I'm using the Llewellyn Tarot for you today. Before we begin, I just wanted to let you know that I've completed the 6-month overviews for each of the signs, running from January to June 2023. They're pretty comprehensive because they're coming in on an average of about 3 hours. So if you're interested in that, there's a link in the description box. And my new community, my new private community over at Circle is up and running now, the Order of the Phoenix. So if you're interested in joining that, that's the other link in the description box. Now, I did these looking for the lesson readings pretty solidly for about 2 years. I released them every month for 2 years, and I mothballed them back in the summer because I needed to claw back a little bit of time for myself. But I thought as a Christmas present I would bring them back for you just for the month of December. So here we are. And if you have not come across these readings before, it is essentially an exercise in perspective. What we do is we take a look at the energy that you are in at the moment, and then we pull some cards to see why you are in that energy. And I do that for this reason, because I think that there's wisdom or a lesson contained in every single experience and interaction that we have if we are open to seeing it. And too often we're not, because we just get bogged down with the minutiae of day-to-day life. And I think sometimes if we can lift our eyes and look up, we can see what is trying to happen in our life for us, and we can work with it rather than working against it. So it could be that something's trying to leave your life and you're not letting it go, or something's trying to come in and you're not embracing it, or it could just be showing you something about yourself. I mean, it could be, frankly, all three. We won't know until the cards hit the table. So that's the point of it. I just think it makes things easier if you can see vaguely where it is that you're going, if you can find meaning in what you're experiencing in the moment. So we'll close out with 3 cards of advice, just to help you navigate through a little more easily. I hope that makes sense. I'm sure it will, if it doesn't currently, so bear with me. I'm going to try and keep these short, nice and short, and with no clarifiers, but if I think there's some unnecessary for additional information, then I will just break my rules, because that's what I do. So let's have 3 cards for Virgo's current energy, please. There we go, there's the first one. We have the Fool, that's pretty nice, I like that. We have the Knight of Pentacles, which is you all day long, Virgo. And we have the 2 of Pentacles, right. So, whenever the Fool shows up, it's always initiatory energy, right? It's the start of a new cycle in some way or another, or it is the freeing of yourself in order that you can start a new cycle. You know, we've got the 10 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck there, which is a card that talks about completion, often in a material sense, but I mean, there's so much more to this card than just money. It's not just getting the job that you want, or, you know, running a business or any of those kind of things. You know, it's it feels to me like what these 2 cards are talking about between themselves is actually a very distinct ending to the sort of life that you have been living up until this point. You know, that there are distinct steps that you are taking in order to possibly conquer some fears that you have. But I feel like I'm going to flip these around so that you can see what I'm looking at here. Excuse me. I feel like you've kind of stood back from the life that you're living, and you've looked at it. You've been like, there are things here that I can change. I can't change it all, and I can't change it all at once, but I can start taking small steps towards a better kind of life for myself. There's a sense of an era having come to an end. And like I said, it's not that you want to change everything, and it's not that you want to change it all at once, but there are some things that are flagged up as being kind of obvious steps. And I feel like it revolves a lot around self-care for you, Virgo, actually. And the funny thing is that even if you're only taking these small steps in the hope that you could start a new cycle very soon. Like it's almost like what you've missed is that mindset shift in and of itself is enough to initiate a new cycle, to start again, having a bit of faith that there's a point to your future, and there's a point to you looking to change and grow and evolve, and committing to that is the new start. Or you don't want everything to happen at once, because there's a lot of emotion involved here with this. This Two of Pentacles is really fascinating. So Two of Pentacles seems to me to be the card that varies the most between decks. And there's a huge swell of emotion here in the background. But she's still managing to stand on one leg. She's got her balance, and she's holding what is important to her in her hands, right? She's going to work with all of this. If you try to move too fast, you're going to overwhelm yourself, and you know that. So it's about slow, steady movements forwards. But this is what I'm saying. You know, it feels like you think that you might have a chance at possibly having a new start if you do these things, right? Work towards the new start. The new start's already here because your mindset's changed, Virgo, and that's absolutely magnificent. I really, really like that. Right, let's see why you're in this energy in the first place. We've got Page of Cups. We've got the Four of Pentacles. And we've got the Ten of Pentacles again. Well, indeed. We've got the Six of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Are we noticing the amount of pentacles we've got here? Right, you are an earth sign. Pentacles are a pretty good indication for you that you are flowing with your energy, right? And we've also got a corresponding Page of Cups. You know, it feels like there's a tentative emotional kind of feeling out. How do I feel about this? How do I feel about that? How do I feel about whatever? I mean, this Four of Pentacles for me sort of says it all. Because it does depict someone holding on to something, but I don't feel like that's the problem here. It's not that you're holding on to anything and you're not letting anything go. It's a tentative exploration of what is important, what stays, it feels to me, is more the case here. We see that with this Ten of Pentacles. You know, there's the I mean, I'm not surprised that it's coming up again, but sometimes the Ten of Pentacles is our vision for the future. And I think it's particularly significant if it's an earth sign that this comes up for. It's like, how can you take your one little pentacle and the four little pentacles that represent things that are really important to you, and add in some two pentacles there for a bit of, you know, juggling around and stuff. And how can you change what, when you're always, you know, you're 3/4 of the way there then to the Ten of Pentacles, which is your vision of actually how you want your life to be. You know, sometimes the Ten of Pentacles is called the happy family card, because there's just such an energy of contentment and possibility. It's supportive. So it could be that you're thinking about setting up a business. I mean, that could be possible. It could be that you are wanting to make your community, however that is, whether your community is your family or your group of friends or whatever, something a little bit more solid and secure and stable. But it doesn't even have to be anything as specific as that. Yeah, because all of the major arcana suits, right, all of the elements, so Pentacles, Wands, Cups, whatever, they run from the Ace to the 10. And what you've got is essentially all of these, you know, cycles within cycles that are going on at all points. Excuse the pheasant. You're not just in one cycle. And when you reach the end of a cycle, what you should be doing, really, is going back to the Ace and starting again. Because everything is a cycle. And we hope it's an ever-improving cycle. We hope it's not one of those cycles where we're stuck in, restrictive thinking or overthinking, or, we stop ourselves from moving forwards. This seems to me to be hitting all of the important points along the way, but it's with a view to this. So we've got this gentle emotional exploration, and I use that word again because it feels right, on the idea of shifting and changing what you can change, and all with what is important held close to you. I like this because he's not really clutching it. He's not even stamping his feet down on these. It's like, no, these are the things that are important to me. These are the values that are important to me. And how can I have more of these in my life? How can I expand the energy of this so what I have around me, what I am a part of, feels solid? Which means that you're not allowing your environment to run you anymore, Virgo. It's small, little baby steps, but it's the first step down a path that puts you in charge of your environment. And I think Virgos are so sensitive to environment that's that little changes within it that aren't brought by you can feel incredibly vexatious to you. You're so tuned in to everything, But if you're the one who's in charge of making all of the moves, and they are gentle and they are exploratory, then this is something that it feels to me you would adjust to very well. I mean, even look at the numbers that we have. So we have here 2, then we have 4, and then we have 6, all with a view to the 10. In numerology, the even numbers are associated with emotion, and we've got it right here. You're skipping across the top of all of the emotion. The odd numbers are given to be more mental, more intellectual. And here you are working with the emotions of change, becoming more adaptable. The 6 of Pentacles is about bringing balance, or a need to bring balance to a situation, but I think that you're doing it in exactly the right way for you. Because even at this stage, I feel like you could allow yourself to become overwhelmed if you went too far too fast. But you're not. It's measured and it's paced and it's right. And underneath all of this, it shows you that you can create your own reality, which I think is a really important, particularly for you, Virgo, in the last few years that you've had. It is a really, really important realisation. So, some cards of advice for Virgo, please. What does Virgo need to know here? 8 of Cups. What does Virgo need to know? Queen of Wands. Yep. And the World card, well, there it is. You've got the Page of Swords at the bottom of the deck, speaking to, a change in the way that you see the world primarily. But it's that energy of connecting dots and realising that the world isn't how you thought it was previously. Particularly if this is in regard to your ability to be able to create your own reality. And we said here, it felt to me like you were intending to start a new cycle. I guess it felt like you were doing the preparatory work, ready for the new cycle, when actually you've embarked on it already. It's just a case of getting comfortable there. And here we have that world, right? That's confirmation that the cycle that you have been in has ended. I mean, I knew it already, Virgo, but the confirmation is here. It's like lean into the idea that the way that you thought the world was before isn't actually how it was, and that you have started a new cycle and you've done it all under your own steam, and you're starting this gentle exploratory process of what it might mean if you can change your environment without unnecessarily upsetting yourself, right? It becomes then a more powerful position to be in than where you have been up until this point. Now, this Eight of Cups here is an understanding that there are certain emotions that you have been holding for a long time, for which it is time to let them go, right? It's time to allow them to go and walk away, because they don't form part of where you are headed. Right? It's all about this idea of creating space for things. We have the stuff that you need to hold on to, the stuff that is valuable for you, the stuff that actually means something, and then anything else that's just kind of like the white noise, the static over the top. We let it go. We do not invest in that anymore. This Queen of Wands is interesting. It's Aries energy. It's she speaks of many things. She speaks of confidence and dynamism and all of that sort of thing. And I think you can absolutely expect to start to feel a little bit more confident in the decisions and the moves that you're making. But she also talks about visibility to me. I just want to pull one more card for her, because visibility is kind of the opposite of where you have been for quite a long time. Right? We always talk about the cave when we talk about Virgos. This Queen of Wands. Yeah. So I think the next thing that might be on your radar, contemplating for moves forward, is how you pull these two feelings apart. This is interesting because I think that this is going to form the basis of a reading possibly in January for you, if not February. Why is being seen associated with the devil for you? Like, you have some really strong feelings about it, but when we've got this kind of combination of cards coming up like this, it sort of suggests that the next point that you're going to be hitting is wondering why it's so difficult for you to be seen. Being seen is a product of standing in your authenticity. But for some reason, you associate it with feeling trapped or toxicity or whatever. I mean, it might be that there's a little bit of digging into your own subconscious reactions to that and seeing what it is about, because that kind of energy there, or that kind of response to the energy of being seen, I think doesn't form a part of where you go next. And we're back to this Ten of Pentacles here. Like, emerging from the cave, wise as you are now, feels vaguely threatening and vaguely confusing. But as an exercise in standing in your authenticity, I think you're absolutely winning. And so this shouldn't be terrifying. It shouldn't be scary. It shouldn't feel vulnerable. I mean, well, you should feel vulnerable. Forget this should and shouldn't and whatnot. Like, it is possible to be vulnerable without being weak. It's possible to be visible without being a target. And whether this is a target for the universe or a target for people, I mean, it'll be different for each of you. But this seems to me, this is something that you should sit with over this month. It's the Devil's month. Capricorn season starts in a couple of weeks. But given that we are talking about initiation and initiatory energy, and the Queen of Wands is Aries right there, seems to fit in very nicely with the way that everything is going for you. So be aware that this is something that sits here with you, and don't let it stop you in the progress that you're making, because I think that you will see, once you realise that you've already started the new cycle, I think that things kind of settle into place a little bit easier. The possibility of things that could be problematic or could be in some way worrying for you fall away. That's it. That's where we're going with that. We're going to leave it there. Hope that this helped, as ever. Don't forget about the 6-month overviews. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.